Super Mario Maker has been a fascinating game to play since its release in September, and I say played because I spent the majority of my time building levels. It's been a long time for non-programmers to have access to an editor designed for them, and along with myself, a lot of people are jumping on the making bandwagon. As I dug deeper into the editor and the offerings put out, I came to realize and reaffirm some important elements about game design that were too good not to talk about further, and something that Nintendo has known about for years. Jumping into Mario Maker is incredibly worthy, thanks to the visual design implemented by Nintendo. Items, characters and elements can be simply dragged and dropped, and they perform exactly how they would in other Mario games. The toolset allows for someone to quickly put a level together, fill it with enemies and constantly iterate as they go. You can also combine characters and elements to create things that are original to Mario Maker, but still retain the same elements as the previous games. This has led to a sheer variety of levels, from game developers to students and everyone in between. One of the more understated elements of Mario Maker is the simple quality control that Nintendo has built into it. All levels must be completed by their creator before uploading. Now, that does not sound like a huge deal, but it's actually very important to the first lesson, and something that I have come to realize over the years. Over the last 5 or 6 years, there has been a real surge of challenging games on the market. Super Meat Boy, Demon's Souls, Fall, and so on. Many gamers have proclaimed this as great and a throwback to the days of classic games that were meant to be brutally difficult. This has led to fans judging a game's quality simply on the difficulty of the title, and looking down on anyone who criticizes. With that said, however, Mario Maker is a great example that contradicts that sentiment. In 30 minutes, I could design a level so difficult that 001 of the entire audience in the world would be able to beat it, and it would still take me a while to actually beat it so that I could host it. Thanks to the analytics in Mario Maker, you can see the exact height and distance of Mario's jumping ability, and from there you could build pixel-exact challenges and leaps, along with setting up off-screen traps to kill the player. The level would be so difficult that the only way you would win it would be if you knew where all the traps were, or could be the developer. I spend a lot of time dying and failing until you get it right. Would this be challenging? Yes. Would this be something for the hardcore elite? Yes. But would this be something enjoyable? The answer to that is no. There are plenty of levels like that in Super Mario Maker now, full of death traps and situations beyond even the levels featured at the Nintendo World Tournament from E3 last year. However, it's not interesting to play a level explicitly designed to be over-the-top difficult, with nothing to compensate for it. Instead of exploring a level's designed to figure it out, you are just banging your head against the wall until either you or it breaks. When a game or level feels like the product of a developer going overboard with difficulty for the sake of being difficult, it shows a lack of understanding of game balance. One common annoyance I see in Mario Maker levels is people setting up invisible blocks purposely to cause someone to die on their first try through a level. It's a cheap trick that offers no understanding or growth from the player's end. Games like Demon's Souls and Super Meat Boy were great aside from their difficulty. Both featured skill-rewarding gameplay and were balanced in their difficulty. Demon's Souls had permanent shortcuts to unlock and upgrading gear, while Super Meat Boy levels were never long enough to turn into audios. Now I know what you are thinking. Their easy levels are better, right? While extreme difficulty can ruin a game, so can extreme easiness. Games that are too difficult feel frustrating to play and turn people off. But games that are too easy have their own problems. We'd all like to feel great by beating a level, a game, but not when it's metaphorically handed to us on a silver platter. When the level is simply set up to be patronizing and offers nothing to the player, then it feels like a waste of time. Another part of this is not locking down the elements of your level and leaving holes that can break it. There is a huge difference between having a shortcut for expert players to avoid and mitigate a challenge, and leaving a part of your level open that allows someone to simply avoid almost everything you built and head straight to the goal. It may seem like a reward to the player, but all you are doing is rendering your entire level moot in favor of an easy win. One thing I see with some Mario Maker levels is that the creator makes some elaborate trap or obstacle, but leaves some massive hole either due to an item, or Mario's jumping ability, that makes the entire section skippable. This is where things get a little philosophical. A good level should make the player grow by the end of it in some way. They should be different than they were at the beginning. This could mean getting new powers, improving their skill, or even just getting an achievement. The point is that the player should feel that they did not just waste their time. And this could be any number of feelings. The level was too hard, that they will never use those skills again. The level was too easy, that it felt like busy work. The level was a repeat of a previous challenge, and so on. Our next lesson brings these points together for one of the hallmarks of a great game designer. Perhaps the hardest thing to come up with as a game developer, even beyond balancing difficulty, is deciding just what your level will be about. It's very easy when it comes to designing something to just throw everything that you can think of into a level or game. We see this not just in Mario Maker, but with game developers who go overboard thinking that more is better. One of the big lessons I have learned from talking to game developers and doing work in Mario Maker is that a great stage, a game, should be a well-oiled machine. Every element should have a function. A very, very big case in point would have to be Super Mario Bros. World 1-1, and how the team created a level that went through all the basics of the gameplay without needing one tutorial. This is where the concept of having harmony or a unified theme comes in for what your game level is about. Are you making an underwater obstacle course, jumping through fire, dealing with enemies via shells? Just like with the full game, you need to come up with the foundation of your level and have everything flow from there. If your level is about tricky platforming, throwing in a bunch of enemies, or an underwater section at the halfway point will not make sense. One of the more common types of levels in Mario Maker are those that just throw enemies randomly around the stage, or leaves an enemy in such a way that they act as a surprise attack. While that may be unexpected, it clashes with the rest of the challenges that you have designed, and makes the level seem stitched together. This is a point that Nintendo has perfected over the last few decades, especially with the Mario titles. Each stage in a Mario game offers some unique take on the gameplay, and if there are any repeated game mechanics or obstacles, they will be used in a different way to keep things from being repetitive. Two of the finest games from Nintendo would be Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. Both featured amazing design that kept on changing and growing over the length of play. For our final point, we come to one area that every game designer has trouble with: building off of the last point. Once you have the foundation and the mechanics down, you need to know just how much you can get out of them. Every mechanic in the game system has a limited span that they will keep the player's interest and that you as a designer can make use of. Some of the best levels and games, for that matter, do not outweigh their welcome. The more unique or niche your game mechanics, a challenge, the less overall time that you can get out of them. The reason is that games with complex, different mechanics require a lot more work to create challenges suitable to them, and the unique mechanic also limits the number of ways you can create interesting challenges.